Marty McClendon, who is running for Lieutenant Governor.
So we have an hour, right? No. Good evening. Thanks for coming out. Most of you know who I am, Marty McClendon. I ran for Lieutenant Governor in 2016. Those in 26 know we ran last in 2018 for the Senate. 101 votes separated the winner and us. So we know we were close, but that doesn't count. We know it took a couple recounts. We know that the fight is in. We're taking nothing for granted this time. With 11 candidates in the race, just like it was in 2016. We won the primary in 2016 being an unknown, outsider, conservative guy that's proud about his Christianity, right? Now I'm not an outsider anymore, and I'm not a surprise anymore, so they're going to be ready for us. The great thing about it, though, is we're already statewide, already been in 12 counties talking about the issues, and I'm a better candidate. The state is more ready for a Republican to serve in the lieutenant governor spot and the governor spot. I think it's our best chance in 35 years to have a Republican governor and a Republican lieutenant governor. People are so frustrated. So we have the way we can work, but we also have to work our tail off. The idea here is people all across the state don't feel like they're represented. They know they're not. That most of the majority of Seattle is being represented only. And that whether it be ranches or water rights or septics or whatever, they're not being heard. And so they want someone that actually understands. So those that don't know me, I grew up in Eastern Washington, Quincy, Grand Coulee, and Wenatchee. Grand Coulee, where I graduated. My dad is a ranching family. My mom is a farming family. So we're small town roots. I'm an Eagle Scout. Grew up with just basic principles of hard work, of loving your neighbor, of giving your word and keeping it, of looking people in the eye and saying, you know, they can trust you. This is what we need in politics, right? This is actually people we can believe in, that actually will do what they say. Like Lenny said too, like defending our rights. Understanding our rights come from God and are secured by government. And bottom line is there's a reason why we fight for families. I come over here, I've got a background, and I talk about this with people. You need someone in the lieutenant governor's office that actually has a background in executive leadership, of serving. Not only do we have decades of serving our community, whether it be Make-A-Wish or Relay for Life or Habitat or whatever, we've also been serving. I've spent 13 years in healthcare and anesthesia as an anesthesia tech. Spent 21 years now as a realtor in industry. I now manage in the designated broker for Redfin for the entire state of Washington. I've got almost 8 years pastoring or on staff or head of a church. We got a radio show for the last 6 years that goes statewide. We're talking about conservative political issues from a Christian perspective. I bring a lot of different things. Plus, I've been involved in a party for over a decade as well when it comes to a PCO, district leader, club president, Pierce County Republican Party chair. These are ideas getting other conservatives elected has been my passion as well. We know how important it is in this state. I say all that for background is I'm not new to this, but I know that issues are really important. For me, it's always been about honoring God, right? Fighting for our families and fighting for our country. And we know that all those are at stake. One of our founding fathers said that if government ever becomes the enemy of the family, we've gone under. We're screwed. And what has government done in the state of Washington, right? Become an enemy of the family. We've seen a breakdown of families, single-parent households. We've seen sex indoctrination past 2 o'clock in the morning through the comprehensive sex education. These are things they don't believe that we as Washingtonians, we as conservatives, will do anything about it. It's time that they got the message that we will. That we're going to throw them all out of office, right? And people always ask, why lieutenant governor? And for many people, it's the number one question is, what the heck does a lieutenant governor do? I tell you one thing, it's the most overlooked, underappreciated office in the state of Washington. It's been that way for years. It's the reason why Sherberg was there 35 years, why Owens was there 20 years. The current lieutenant governor, the guy that I lost to in 2016, is stepping down to become a Jesuit priest, which I think God works in mysterious ways. But this role, right, another opportunity, is both executive and legislative. The only role in state government that is both. What I mean by that, legislatively, you are the presiding officer over the Senate. What does that mean? It doesn't mean you just run meetings. It means you pull bills to the floor. You know, the bad bills that we've seen this last session have to be pulled to the floor for a vote by the lieutenant governor out of committee, right? It also means that good bills that get stuck in committee can be pulled forward. It's been used against us for about 50 years now in the wrong way. You can have a lot of leverage as lieutenant governor to actually stop, pull, or modify bad bills. And another thing is, in the Senate, you can actually run your own legislation. You want a bill to fix things, you can actually present it as lieutenant governor, work it through the process, and pull it for a vote. So you actually get people on the record for it. Very powerful. From the executive standpoint, lieutenant governor is not only the governor when the governor's out of the state or incapacitated. That's good. The current lieutenant governor was governor more than Inslee was this last session because he's running for president, right? So think about that. Who do you want to be governor when the governor is gone? I would say me, right? Lieutenant governor breaks all ties, which has happened multiple times this last session. Believe it or not, even with a majority of the Democrats, having a majority of the Democrats, there were still chances where there was ties, and Cyrus B. broke the tie. Now you need a conservative, constitutional Christian in there to say, no, we won't pass comprehensive sex education. Okay? Lieutenant governor appoints to 41 different boards and commissions. One of those is the building council. Wouldn't you want someone with 21 years of background in land use and real estate actually appointing someone that actually knows about land use codes and making it easier to build homes and make it more affordable? It makes sense. Lieutenant governor, believe it or not, the governor, lieutenant governor, and the treasurer actually sit on the investment board. What does that mean? All the state funds that are invested in other things, like pension funds, are invested by those three people, have a say in it, right? Wouldn't you want someone with a financial background to actually manage your money well versus what government does? It makes sense. Lieutenant governor, on and on and on. Outside of session, this is where it's really passionate for me. As you are the governor in waiting, quote unquote, the rest outside of session, you have your choice of what you work on. Brad Owens, for 20 years, worked on getting kids off drugs. He may not have worked very well, but the point was that was his passion. The current lieutenant governor has a passion for getting disabled kids into activities like Outward Bound. Well-meaning. I am passionate about a number of things that I can work on with the bully pulpit, running legislation as the lieutenant governor that will actually make a difference in the lives of our kids and the generations to come in this state. I'll just mention a couple before I take up all the time here. One of those, and we've talked about this for years, is our education. We just spent $9 billion over the last 9 years to fully fund education, okay? And we've had levies across every district. We understand that, right? And so I go, okay, fine. If we're going to spend $9 billion, then we should have some kind of better outcomes, right? You would think, right? What are we getting for the money we spend? And yet, if you look at the OSP website, 1 in 5 kids still drop out of high school every year. Okay, 20% of our kids are failing out of high school and not graduating. Okay, what about the 80% that actually graduate? 80% that graduate, 49% actually are grade level for math and 48% for science. So we're failing half of our kids that even graduate. Of the ones that graduate, 30% go to college. Of those, 50% drop out before they finish. So of the 50% or the 30% that actually go to college, okay, 54% are underemployed or unemployed in the job market, and there's no jobs for them. Think about that. But our entire system is designed for every kid to go to college. It's designed by the UW, called Core 24, right? So we're failing our kids and spending tons of money to do it, okay? First of all, part of it, the lieutenant governor, I want to scrap Core 24. We're going to have to give our kids more electives so they can be exposed to more things, first of all. Number two, we know that in high schools they have a high school counselor, right? But they don't have a job counselor. Every high school needs to have a job counselor as well, knowing exactly what the job market will bear and what the options are. And then our kids need to be exposed to the trades, apprenticeships, and that kind of stuff in middle school, and see if they have an aptitude for it, so they can test into a better pathway for them. Because we know less than a third are meant to go to college. So those third, great. But the rest should have a pathway where they can go into the job market and make good money. We can do this with the lieutenant governor working with the Senate and getting the majorities. We know what's important. I can go on and on and on, but I'll do one more thing for you and then I'll finish it up. You can go to my website for more at electmarty.com. Number two, though, is government accountability. Everybody gives a lip service all the time. We understand that. We have state agencies that are out of control. We have the Democrats that are out of control, right? We understand that. Example here. We have state agencies, first of all, that are paid for by us, supposed to serve us. They hire lobbyists, paid for by us, to lobby legislators, paid for by us and our taxpayer dollars, to grow the agency. That makes no sense. Another two is they have budgets every year, and at the end of the fiscal cycle, if they don't spend their money, they lose it. So what do? They spend money, right? They blow money. They don't have to, your money, because that's the way the system's set up. That's dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb. So two things, two fixes for this. One is, from a budget cycle, you fix the budget so they can't lose it no matter what. Okay, so you don't incentivize bad behavior. You're not losing your budget. Don't blow it. Now, if they find innovative ways to save money, to roll over money, to not spend it in a better way. A portion of that could be rewarded as a bonus or some way to incentivize the right behavior. The rest of it could be tied to education, school funding, whatever it may be. Give them a reason to save money. Number two, every public-facing government entity like DMV, DOL, LNI, DSHS that you deal with should be challenged with a survey. How well did we do? And then when you fill out a survey, they should be held accountable to the service they give you, the taxpayer. So think about that for a second. So a bunch more than that, but the idea, the advocacy is for putting the power back in your hands. So I'll wrap it up now. I'm Marty McClendon, running for Lieutenant Governor. And not only do we have to win this time, we're going to win this time with your help, but we're ready to serve, we're ready to make a difference in the state, and people will watch out. You know, this God's in charge, and that's the last thing I'll leave for Marcus here too, the rest of it. Bottom line is this is the last time that this state government tells church they don't matter. Bottom line is, we need to invite the faith community in and never shut them down again. God bless you. Amen.
Thank you, Marty. So I'm going to have Tim Mathis come up.